Hello, this is the CFD propeller tutorial 2. We are now gonna start building the propeller after what we left off from beforehand, which was making the curve using airfoil tools. Now we're gonna start by first going to SolidWorks, and as you can see, if we go onto the trailing edge, there is a bit of a gap, and we need to fill this gap as well, because of course we need a solid surface, a closed surface, so we can at least extrude to 3D. So to start, we're gonna go to the front plane and make it so we can see. So we can click on show by right clicking, and then you can also right click and click on sketch. Now you can edit the sketch however you want or play around with it, but because the curve is not defined as a sketch, we wanna convert entities by clicking on the line and then clicking on convert entities. Now you can see the line as black, which means you can use the sketch and actually play around with it. So now you can click on the spline line, which is basically the airfoil itself. And you can see here on existing relations, there's on edge 0. We want to make sure we delete this so there's no relations, so we can edit as much as we want, and then click OK on the top. Now you can see the line change from black to blue, and we still need to fix this trailing edge problem. So we're gonna go on the top left, you can see this line, insert line. We're gonna just zoom in. Zooming in is just using scroll, and then just draw a line by holding onto your left mouse and dragging along to the other point, from one point to the other. Now you can exit sketch, and then after you exit sketch, just make sure you delete the curve because we do not need this anymore. Now you can see the airfoil is completed from leading edge to trailing edge. Even though there's a gap, that's completely fine, meaning the gap that we closed is completely fine. Doesn't have to touch the trailing edge at 0, because this helps us with meshing. Now we want to put this onto another. I want to copy this airfoil onto a 3D plane, which means we want that airfoil to be on another plane. So we can use front plane and go to reference geometry, and then click on the front plane as your first reference, as you can see, and change the number to 95.25. This is very important because this decides how much of a length our blade is. So changing this to 95.25 is what you need to do. I don't know what the start value is, but change it to 95.25 and click OK on the tick up there. Now you can see there was another plane that's been created. Now we can make a sketch onto the plane by just right clicking the plane or simply going to the left side and adding a sketch as well. And you can see we're actually on this plane too, not on the front plane. It's overlaying on one another, and we're gonna use this to our advantage. So now that we're editing on plane 2, we want to make sure that we want to have this exact airfoil being copied. And to do so, we can convert entities on the original airfoil by clicking on it, and then clicking convert entities. This will then paste this onto the second plane. But as you can see, the plane 2 it doesn't contain the trailing edge connection because we didn't click on the line that connected both of them. So we need to connect the line, but first let's just delete the existing relations by clicking onto the curve value, the curve, and then just deleting the existing relation and clicking OK. And after that, if you want, you can either convert entities or just add a line. I'll just add a line by just going to insert line again and connecting the two dots as done before. And you can click escape to escape from the line. Now that you have the two airfoils, Now we want to connect them and make it look like a 3D object. And we can do this by using the loft boss base. So let's click on loft boss base. And now we want to click on the front planes line or curved line or airfoil, whatever you want to call it, and also click on that line as well. And as you can see, it automatically created a 3D sketch. And you can see this green dot is where it references these two um, sketches. And you want to make sure that they're both on the top of the trailing edge, not on the bottom, which makes it so it does join properly. If you do have the one of the dots on the bottom and the other on the top, it won't work. So make sure this both are on the top. This will help with creating a nicely shaped trailing edge as well and make it so the solid 3D wing, or you can call it blade, will show. And now we can just hide the front plane and the plane too, and there you have it. This is uh, this is basically the propeller blade. In the next video, we're gonna make sure that we can twist the blade, and we're also gonna add hub to this depending on the video that you watch.